going on, guys? Thank you for coming back to my countdown to Endgame, where I'm talking about the past MCU movies leading into Avengers Endgame, now coming out in less than 2 weeks. It is almost here. I can't believe it. And I'm almost in the middle of my countdown. And today I'm talking about one of the movies that is in my top 5. And the one movie, in my opinion, that made such a great turning point for the future of the MCU movies, Captain America: Winter Soldier. This movie is the first feature directed by the Russo brothers. They'd of course go on to direct more like Civil War, Infinity War, and the upcoming Endgame movie. What they did here was such a shift with the future of most of these movies, taking it into a more realistic conspiracy type of world. And they gained a lot of their influence from past conspiracy fiction type of films of the 70s, if you're familiar with 3 Days of the Condor, All the President's Men, movies that really touch upon the government and things that they're hiding. And here it's S.H.I.E.L.D. that we're dealing with. And it made it feel, at least for me, very frightening to watch movies like this, because here we have a government or some type of organization you've always trusted, in this case S.H.I.E.L.D., and you've come to find out they're not who they said they were this entire time. And there's a lot of times in this film where I was like scared for our heroes in this movie. And usually for a superhero movie like that, you don't lose that type of trust or betrayal. And here, I really felt that most of the time, and I think that's what made this movie so powerful. This movie is just all around great. Everything they did in this movie, the camera work, the script, the way they have the characters interact with each other, great chemistry between all of them, just the situations and how high the stakes are in this movie, just brings it to a level of how you think this could actually happen. You think that Captain America and S.H.I.E.L.D. could actually exist in this world. Now, the cast in this movie, one word, phenomenal. You have many of the familiar faces such as Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Sebastian Stan, Kobe Smulders, and Samuel Jackson, all playing their respectable roles from the past few movies. You got a lot of newcomers such as Anthony Mackie playing Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon. Emily Van Camp is playing Sharon Carter, which is Peggy Carter's grandniece. And then you have Haley Atwell coming back as well, playing an older version of Peggy Carter. And the one actor that I really appreciated in this movie was Robert Redford playing Alexander Pierce. For my fun fact for this movie is that he was in many of those movies from the 1970s, those conspiracy stories that I told you about, like All the President's Men and 3 Days of the Condor, which are amazing movies, by the way. I recommend them. But the Russo brothers, I think, picked him for this movie just because he was in many of these movies that influenced the Winter Soldier. I think that's what gave this movie such caliber and respected by others, even ones that don't really see superhero movies, to have an actor as highly regarded as Robert Redford in it. As for the premise of this movie, it does take place 2 years later after the events of the Battle of New York in the first Avengers movie, where we find Steve Rogers still trying to adapt to today's world, now working for S.H.I.E.L.D. alongside Fury and Black Widow. The movie opens up with a mission that they're on aboard a vessel rescuing other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. As the movie progresses, they come to find out that S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't the organization they thought it was. It's been Hydra this entire time. So the rest of the movie, they are trying to figure out this conspiracy that Hydra has been hiding, and while this is going on, they end up meeting a mysterious assassin known as the Winter Soldier. Like I said before, this movie really got to me. We live in a world where there's so many conspiracies, so many things that people consider a hoax, and it makes you question, is it real or is it not? There's so many moments in this movie that really, really made me think, oh my God, there's nobody to trust in this movie. When Samuel Jackson, Nick Fury, he's driving in the city, and all the cops, they end up going after him.
DC Metro Police Dispatch shows no units in this area. Get me out of here.
And then you have those subtle, dark moments, going back to the scene that I was telling you about with Robert Redford and Winter Soldier when they're in Alexander Pierce's home.
Sorry, Mr. Pierce, I forgot my phone.
Oh, Renata. I wish you would have knocked.
This movie just has so much going for it. Conspiracy, thriller, action, superhero movie. It's just everything you would want in this type of movie and more. Of course, there were some things that I wish they would have done a little differently. For example, Sharon Carter, Emily Van Camp, I wish her role was bigger. I know we could have seen something really good in her storyline. She was very minimal in that role. And along with Anthony Mackie, his role was great too. I just wish we would have seen a little bit more of him, because most of the movie is spent between Captain America and Black Widow, which they are the main actors, the main characters of the story. Though it would have been nice to see other people have more screen time. Another thing is that this movie is not really connected more so to the Infinity War and the Stones. They don't mention it because it's revolving mostly around S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra. So that's a different storyline. So there's not much of a connection to Endgame in regards to what's going to happen to that movie. But with this film, it does have a major connection to the MCU as a whole. And I think that really overpowers that connection over the connection to Endgame, because this is all about the fallout of S.H.I.E.L.D. This is all about an organization they all trusted that come to find out they were lied to, and it's been Hydra the entire time, the one enemy they've been trying to go after. And there are, I guess you can say, conspiracies of people saying that Thanos has been manipulating everything in the MCU, not just the Stones. People are saying that what's going on in these standalone movies with S.H.I.E.L.D. in this film, who most of it has been manipulated by Thanos. I think, in my opinion, only certain things he's moving these chess pieces around in order to go in his favor. But with this case, with Captain America, the Winter Soldier, I just think this is a story regarding of the end of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the beginning of the Avengers as its own separate entity. But like I said, great movie. I recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. If you can only watch a small handful of movies before Endgame, this is honestly one of the ones I'd recommend. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Give a like or subscribe. For my next video, I will be doing Guardians of the Galaxy. And with that video, I'll be doing Volume 1 and 2. I'm kind of considering them one movie together since they do take place a few months apart. So look forward to that. Hopefully I'll have that up soon. Y'all have a great week. I hope you enjoyed hearing me. I'll see you at the movies.